For years, the story around US manufacturing was simple. It was leaving. Jobs moved overseas. Production followed lower costs. Capacity disappeared. But today, that story has changed. Manufacturing is coming back in a big way. This shift is being driven by supply chain risk, public policy, new technology, and a renewed focus on making critical goods in America again. So the big question now isn't whether it's returning, it's what's growing, where is it happening, and what in the world is making all this possible? If you look at what's growing, a pattern starts to show up. It's concentrated in industries that are considered critical, meaning the country can't afford to lose control of them. Semiconductors are at the center of this growth. They power everything, from vehicles to data centers to industrial automation. And when supply gets disrupted, everyone feels it. Pharmaceutical manufacturing is also expanding. Companies are working to bring production closer to home, especially for critical medicines, so they're not dependent on overseas supply chains. Energy is another major driver. A lot of new investment is flowing into batteries, EV components, solar manufacturing, and other energy technologies. And then there's aerospace and defense. These are areas where reliability and control matter more than cost alone. This is leading companies to bring strategic production back inside the US to strengthen our national security. Where this is all happening is just as important as what's growing. Texas, Georgia, and Florida have played a large role in recent recovery, while South Carolina, Tennessee, Alabama, and other southeastern states are attracting major advanced manufacturing investment. There are a few reasons for this: lower operating costs, access to land, strong logistics networks. These regions make it cheaper and easier to build, scale, and move product efficiently. Texas stands out in particular. It combines energy access, infrastructure, and a growing base of advanced manufacturing. At the same time, though, the Midwest still plays a major role. It has deep supplier networks, established infrastructure, and a long history of manufacturing expertise. So this isn't a shift away from traditional regions, it's an expansion into areas that can support modern production. So what's actually driving this shift? A big part of it comes down to risk. Over the past several years, companies have experienced disruptions that exposed how fragile complex supply chains can be. Delays, shortages, unpredictable timelines. And when that happens, cost becomes less important than control. Companies want shorter supply lines, less geopolitical exposure, and more visibility into their own production. Policy is also playing a major role. The bipartisan infrastructure law, the CHIPS Act, and other legislation have created powerful incentives to build domestically. Tariffs and trade policy have also encouraged some firms to reconsider offshore production and invest in the US facilities instead. And when those signals are clear, private investment flows. Large companies have announced major capital commitments to build factories, expand capacity, and increase domestic output in the United States. To make this possible, several things are happening at the same time. First, there's direct funding and tax incentives supporting manufacturing investment, especially in areas like semiconductors and clean energy. Second, infrastructure is being upgraded. Roads, ports, rails, broadband, and energy systems are all being improved to support modern manufacturing. It's not just about making more parts, it's about moving materials, data, and power more efficiently. And third, workforce development is also becoming a bigger priority. More focus is being placed on training programs, technical schools, apprenticeships, and skill development. And at the same time, companies are investing heavily in automation and digital manufacturing. Robotics, advanced systems, and process control are allowing them to produce more with fewer bottlenecks and greater consistency. This shift matters for a lot of reasons. Manufacturing isn't just about jobs. It supports supply chains, national security, local economies, and the entire networks of suppliers and service providers. And this is where it becomes directly relevant, because when manufacturing grows, it doesn't happen in isolation. It pulls everything with it. More production means more demand for tooling, more fixtures, more metrology, more maintenance, more precision components. In other words, when manufacturing comes back, the entire ecosystem starts to grow with it. And this comeback isn't happening by accident. It's being built through policy, investment, infrastructure, and workforce development. And the biggest gains are showing up in industries that are considered critical: semiconductors, energy, pharmaceuticals, aerospace and defense. Manufacturing is returning because industrial capacity is being treated as a strategic priority again. And that's what makes this different. This isn't a short-term shift. It's a long-term change in how production is planned, built, and controlled. I'm Brian Falk from Scientific Cutting Tools. What's the biggest hurdle you see with manufacturing making a meaningful return to the United States? Add it to the conversation down in the comments.